Hello and welcome to Troopers. My name is Eric Njiro and this is the home of sports conversation from Kenya, Africa to the world. And today we are again back to football. We talk about the Harambee Stars, Chan 2024 that is coming up next year and the FKF elections that are coming up in a couple of days. Joining me now on Troopers this week are my colleagues, senior sports journalist, this is Sadiq Shaban, yes, and Gilbert Wadera, also a sports journalist. Welcome gentlemen to my show for the very first time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Derek, you look younger. It's the haircut.
Yeah, of course, I'm always like that.
Did you change the barber?
Huh?
Change the barber?
No, you changed the style.
Because the last time I saw you in Cote d'Ivoire, you looked a little...
Give me a couple of weeks, I'll be better even. After Christmas. Gilbert, welcome to the show. I've been looking for you always in Kenya's G, Rwanda's G, where it's these days it's so hard to find you, you know?
Yeah, it's globe trotting, but I'm here now. Thank you.
Very nice. So there are a lot of things that we have to discuss this afternoon, this morning.
Yes.
And I want us to start with the Harambee Stars. First of all, we've been knocked out of the AFCON qualifiers. They are now done. Teams are confirmed 24 that are going to Morocco next year. What is your take on the Harambee Stars' performance in all those qualifiers? So you played 6 games, yes.
Really, like any Kenyan, very disappointing. I had an opportunity to watch their last 2 games in Polokwane City against Zimbabwe, against Zimbabwe and against Namibia. Sometimes, you need to be, in their shoes to try and understand, what really happened. But it was disappointing. Had an opportunity to talk to the coach, to the players, and you could see the sense of disappointment. It was really, really very disappointing. Yeah. And especially, knowing the last time we were there, it was 2019. That's a long time. And even some of the players, maybe they may not be there again by the time we come back to 2027. So, in a nutshell, it's really, really very disappointing. That's all I can say about it, yeah.
Sadiq?
I wanted to ask you, are you the PRO of the team? You speak like the public relations officer of the team. I don't know whether you're in Polokwane, they signed you up for those 2 matches, just to speak for the team. You ooze an enthusiasm, really, and a sense of patriotism, but not when the team has lost over 4 places down in the latest FIFA rankings. I have always said, for the period that I've covered Harambee Stars, and I was lucky to at least to, I've gone with this team also to the AFCON. The current crop lacks the urgency. They lack the spine. And for me, they've dropped the ball somewhere. Other countries seem to be working very hard and pulling all strings to not only make it to the African Nation Championship, to not only make it to the Africa Cup of Nations, and to possibly make it to the World Cup. But our Harambee Stars have no sense of urgency. A post-mortem must be done, looking at the playing unit, the tactical approach we've gone on this qualifying window, which was very short, intense. So you snooze, you lose. And that is what we saw with Harambee Stars. Yeah. Every qualifying match was a final this time. We just came from Cote d'Ivoire 8 months ago. And short 8 months later, the qualifiers for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, which will be played a year from today, is already over. We are used to an old qualifying process where it was spread out for months. You knew if you lost here, you'd still have a chance. And then there's something about Kenyans. We go into mathematical permutation. So we want so-and-so to win, and we pray that so-and-so loses, so that we win by this margin. Now, that window is shut. All matches are final. Do the playing unit know this? Do the new crop of boys have the same philosophical orientation that we saw perhaps with the likes of Musa, the most capped player in Harambee Stars? We need to corroborate that. So I don't know, Mr. PRO, whether I'm striking, I'm rubbing it wrongly, or there's something missing with the boys. Yeah. And it's very fundamental. You can't put your fingers on it, really, Eric. You can't put your fingers, your pulse, and say this is it. There's something fundamental lacking in this team, and that should be the first point of interrogation.
I would agree with you, Sadiq, to a certain point, but not entirely, but to a certain point. And I'll agree with an example. I'll give you an example. One of the problems, and I was able to speak to the players, one of the big problems they said is they are playing most of the matches away.
Well, Sudan were.
No, let me finish.
Libya?
No, let me
Wow.
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Benghazi?
Let me finish.
Bullets were flying over,
Yeah.
but people qualified.
Let me finish. That's good. But then again, they were playing away. But now, look at the investments that their governments made in the team. Forget about playing away, just playing away. I'll give you an example of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was staying in the best hotel in Polokwane City.
What about us?
No, let me finish.
Okay.
The best hotel in Polokwane City.
Hotels don't play football.
This hotel.
Hotels, waitresses, as nice as they
Let
look.
me finish.
Nice
Sadiq,
food as
let
much
me finish.
as-
I want to
Layla.
make a point.
Uh-huh.
Let me make a point. This hotel had 2 FIFA certified pitches.
2 fifths. Okay.
They didn't need to go to the stadium to train. They just went because it's a requirement to train a day before. You see, what am I saying? I'm saying is that the government of Zimbabwe put a lot of investment in the team for motivation, such that even if they're not playing at home, they were motivated. That motivation is what was lacking with our team.
You in South Africa.
But I will agree with Sadiq in the sense that our players, some of our, not all of them, some of our players, they don't know what it means to put on that jersey.
Yeah.
They don't know what it means. Now, I look at one player, Teddy Akumu. After we drew with Zimbabwe, he cried. He cried. It hurt him. Yeah? But some players were like, they were just like, when are we going to be paid our allowance?
Agreed. And
You see?
Wandera, you have just gotten the words
Yes.
out of my mouth.
Yes.
Look at when Ghana
Yes.
to qualify. In
Yes.
fact, when they're on the brink
Yes.
of missing out on
Actually,
AFCON.
that was in October now.
Yes,
like when
yes,
it hit
yes.
them.
Yes.
On the penultimate, when
Yes.
things just looked like Ghana, they were not going to make it.
Yes.
No matter the permutations.
Yes.
Players took to social media.
Yes.
They apologized. We saw Kudus,
Yes.
passionately writing a letter to the Ghanaian nation
Yes.
and apologize.
Yes.
Look, and when Ghana was knocked out and not going to AFCON for the first time in 20 years, we could see the players, every player apologized. And the government of Ghana has dissolved the National Management
Board,
Team
yes.
Committee.
Yes, yes.
Now tell me, have we seen any Harambee Stars players apologize to Kenyans?
We haven't seen.
As of this time, have we? Where are the tears? The tears dried as soon as allowances were paid.
We haven't
I want to
seen.
go back to the point where you said
Sorry.
they were staying in the best hotel.
Yes.
Where were we staying? Like, how bad was ours?
It wasn't bad, but it was a
Name the hotel.
3-star hotel.
We will check out the ratings.
Name the
Right
hotel,
now.
5-star.
Name the hotel. We'll check
You're
out the
saying
ratings
it's
right now.
5-star, yeah.
What was the name of the hotel? You in Polokwane?
Yes, you're staying in Pakin.
Pakin. As you continue,
a
I'll share
hotel
the rating.
that even Zimbabwe fans stayed there.
Who books the hotels for the national teams? It's the federation.
But
obviously they get the funding from the government.
From government. Yeah. I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying.
It's one of the excuses.
I'm just saying
A big one, though.
that motivation is very important.
So that hotel, this is
Yes.
just breaking news for you now that you have
Yes.
this conversation.
Yes.
That hotel, Spark In by Radisson,
Yes.
Polokwane.
Yes.
Isn't that where you are?
Yes.
That is where Kenya was staying.
Kenya was
Yes,
staying.
Park In.
Park In, yes.
Yes.
I'm just looking at it online
Yes,
here.
yes, yes.
And do you know how much we're paying per night?
No.
27,000 Kenyan shillings.
Per
so is
person?
it
Yes.
per person?
Yes.
And that is that about a hotel?
What I'm
Well,
saying
if
is,
hotels were playing,
They have
football,
FIFA
yeah,
pitches.
yeah. If hotels were playing, I thought you were taking people in Karumaindu down there. No, it is not. This is a very. It's actually look. It's a 4-star hotel. It's a 4-star hotel.
actually, it's
So if
3-star.
Harambee Stars were to stay in the same FIFA-approved hotels with the same FIFA-approved masseurs and,
Yes.
and cooks
Yes, yes.
and groundsmen and women, we don't expect any less in terms of output in the pitch.
Yes.
And Wandera, there's something
Yes.
you have said,
Yes.
which I agree with you,
Yes.
that some of our boys do not know anything about the sweat, the blood, okay,
Yeah.
of wearing the Kenyan jersey. We see that with athletes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, we
Yes.
see that with Kenyan athletes, and these are individual sports. But when it comes to team sports, we really come short. And it's an embarrassment, Eric, that in this country, it is the women who are doing better than men. Our women's
Exactly.
team have done well at
We just
that
come from the World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it has taken the young girls, could you imagine? Young girls to show the big boys how to qualify. And I have looked through, and I have been around for these years. I have not seen a single team in this country that receives so much money, that receives so much support, that receives so much attention, even from the head of state himself, than Harambee Stars. Harambee Stars is the only Kenyan team that gets private charters to go for matches.
Yes.
Kenya athletics team does not even get a private jet to go for World Championship, but Harambee Stars gets a private plane.
Yeah.
We saw that during the qualifying for AFCON, the last one in Cameroon. We saw it. But what has Harambee Stars given back to the nation? Nothing. Bottomless pit. And I'm going to say here, Eric, in this show, that it is time to disband the entire structure of Harambee Stars, from the management to the technical team. Start afresh. I know we're in the middle of World Cup 2026 qualifiers, which I don't think we're going to make any progress anyway.
Yeah, so I think Engin Firat, our coach, is now in Europe. I think he's going to come back in the mid-December.
Yes.
So you think he should be fired?
He should have gone a long time ago.
In
fact, there should have been investigation on how he was hired in the first place. I really put it there that investigating authority should go and find out how this man was hired. The labor office should tell us how this man was hired for all this time. He's complained that he has not been paid for 11 months. Maybe he wants to jump ship. He wants to be paid. We've seen this before. He doesn't agree with me, but I will say it.
I don't think Firat is a problem. If you ask me, I don't think he's like 100% to be blamed for, because if you give him the kind of players that he has, and those are the best players we have. To be honest, those are the best players that we have.
In this country?
In this country, yes. So what do you want him to use? So I don't think he's...
You also complain a lot of training pitches, not training business.
Not only don't we have a place to play, we don't even have a place to train.
We also have Konsun and Chan. We talk about that.
We do not have, Sadiq.
We
do not have. Now, also firing Firat, it will cost us a lot.
Listen.
How long is this contract? 3 more years?
3-year contract? No, actually 2 more years.
2 more years.
Yes.
So that's by 2026.
By 2026.
No, you should go with this office that is going out. I know there's probably
even if the contract is there, and you know how much you paid Amrouche, Adel Amrouche, almost 100 million.
I know. The issue
We're
of
in the middle of the World Cup qualifiers, Sadiq. So you feel we should get a new management to come and take us through now the rest of the qualifiers?
Look, I know how important it is, speaking broadly for football lovers in this country, to have the ship that is Harambee Stars, at least, wobbling in the high seas, steered to the nearest port of exit. That is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. Just let me make a small admission. Sometime in 2010, I was nearly fired by KTN. Because I did a very critical story about Harambee Stars.
Okay.
My manager at the time didn't like it too much, because I went, and the story is on YouTube. You could go and check it out. You're going to attach a screenshot on this if you will. I did a piece to camera with my tie and coat and suit, but I wore a short down here. and I said, this is Harambee Stars in a nutshell. What you see is not what you get. Okay? That we look like this, yet we expect to put up a good front against others who are well prepared, well disciplined, well mannered, and well funded, with a better mentality and approach to every game. I was nearly fired for that. My manager at that point told me, if you're lucky, don't do it again. I'm afraid 14 years later, we are speaking about the same thing. Eric, we have been lucky to go around countries in Africa to see what football does to people. I mean, in Africa, football can make or break a presidential ambition.
Yeah, for sure.
But in Kenya, it's just any other business. And that's what I'm saying. The ship that is the 2026 qualifiers must be directed to the nearest port of exit, offload everybody, and then we have a new start. This is going to be 48 teams. It's such an embarrassment that we are not even going to be part of it.
Well, that's a long shot either way, going to World Cup this year.
I don't think we're going to go anywhere.
We need to start by being consistent in the AFCON.
Look, I am saying this, and I know I'm probably going to receive a lot of flack for this, but I will say this. Harambee Stars is a bottomless pit. Takes money, takes everything, but doesn't reciprocate.
It's the most popular sport in Kenya.
Yeah. It is, but the team isn't. There's a difference between football and Harambee Stars. Well, if you talk about football, let us focus on the women.
Yeah.
They have done more to give us back what we have invested in them. But Harambee Stars is a bunch of entitled boys who just take in more money from this country, without knowing what it means to give back. And at this time, Kenyans need something to cheer. And I'm afraid they're not going to get that from Harambee Stars.
Let's conclude on this topic of Harambee Stars.
Okay.
Sadiq, you're for the entire management leaving, and then Wandera, you are saying we stick with Firat.
Let him see out his contract.
That's in 2026, which
The
means
contract
now,
or the campaign?
We
cannot have him for 3 years.
the 2026, it means he has to take us to preparations for the AFCON that we host at home.
Exactly, because
And we
already
cannot fire him
Yeah.
in 2026 when we've got AFCON at home.
Who said we cannot fire him?
27.
We can get rid of him anytime.
Like
If we can impeach a president in this country anytime, who is Firat? Who is Firat?
Well, those are the views of Sadiq and Gilbert. Now let's
Yes.
get to Chan. Kenya is hosting Chan from Feb 1 to 28th next year. And obviously, a lot of people are concerned that things are not moving as quickly as they should because we need to have the stadium, we need to have the hotels, we need to have the training pitches and training bases. We've got journalists here and everyone's got their own opinion. First of all, Gilbert, do you feel we are doing enough to host this tournament in 2 months' time? Is it even 2 months? Yeah, 2 months, December and January now.
Actually, we are not doing anything.
You're also concerned like us.
Actually, CAF is more concerned, and CAF wants us to have the tournament more than we want.
Sadiq, are you surprised he's with us on this one?
More than we want.
Let me give him something. This is a clean handkerchief. It's not been used. Please use it to wipe your glasses. You are clearly now seeing things.
Yes. Honestly, when I spoke to Sadiq, I
wipe your
expected
glasses.
to
I'm
talk
not
about
used to it's a clean handkerchief.
I'm telling you.
Remove and wipe your glasses. Thank you very much. You need to see a clear picture here.
No. I
Thank
am
you, sir.
telling
Put
you.
them back in.
I've been on the ground and I talked to the CAF. You know, CAF have actually brought one of their facility managers. He's here. He came here last week and he's here until March.
I saw,
Yes, he's here. He's from South Africa. That is how much CAF wants us to have this thing. Mosepe is coming here next December.
Yes.
That is how much Mosepe wants us to. But for us, we are not doing anything. Honestly, we are not. We don't even have a local organizing committee.
I spoke to
Uganda,
Murkomen.
Tanzania already have, and like a month ago. But we do not have until today. This guy is saying he's concerned. We don't have, and it's because of course, the elections that are coming up. But we knew about Chan. Even forget about election. We knew about Chan. To be honest, I would not be surprised if you don't host that Chan. I would not be surprised.
Eric.
I would not be.
Yes,
Eric, you and I were in Cote d'Ivoire. We were lucky. At least, I would say we were probably the only Kenyan journalists.
Yes.
Jeff was there as well.
Yes, and Collins was
there.
And Collins. So about 4 of us, and we saw it firsthand. What it means to host Africa Cup of Nations.
Yes.
And we heard it from the Minister of Sports in Cote d'Ivoire, the President himself. We heard it from the LOC, that Cote d'Ivoire put everything out and said, we need to deliver, arguably, what CAF is now calling the best AFCON in the
They
history.
were even awarded some money, I think last month or something, when CAF went there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for a country that just came out of a civil war,
yes.
in 2005. When we go to Abidjan, we couldn't believe it. We had to leave everything that we had heard about that country. Now let's come back to Kenya. When you're discussing African Nation Championship this year or next year, it goes back to 2018 when we were supposed to host the first edition and it was taken to Morocco. Now I went to Morocco for that African Nation Championship. Now in 2019, I was in Cameroon for the African Nation Championship. And when CAF, well, actually that was that was Senegal.
Egypt.
That was Senegal.
Senegal.
When CAF sat down
Yes.
and now removed or took away the hosting rights for Cameroon for hosting Africa Cup of Nations.
Yes.
And I learned from that episode that the Confederation of African Football has a fidelity to itself and to the football masses, not to an individual country. Other countries maybe you may look like their favorite, but because they give in so much when other countries fail. This country does not, as Gilbert has said, does not even have the local organizing committee.
I was with Murkomen yesterday at Kenya Alco, and I asked him, where's the LOC? He told me soon.
That soon is what Namwamba told us last year in Diani when he took journalists to a joint meeting between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania,
yes.
which I thank him for that because it opened up our eyes. Tanzania reported to us that they were ready. Not just in Tanzania mainland, but in Zanzibar as well. They have stadium. Uganda have been reporting what FUFA, the Federation of Football of Uganda, have been doing. The facilities are ready.
They've been hosting their AFCON qualifiers.
At home.
And
Okay. We are the only country that does not even have a stadium to host Mashemeji Derby here.
Last week.
So now,
Our biggest
this
game.
is a country, okay, that wants to host the African Nation Championship. As of this point, we do not have a local organizing committee that should shield this country from the shenanigans of the football elections.
Yes.
So that you have an CEO and an LOC that should just prepare for CHAN
yes.
without having to worry about what goes on in FKF branches and elections.
For sure.
So that the CEO of FKF or the chairperson of FKF is not the person to lead the LOC. It's just a co-opted member.
Yes.
Now, this is the same country that journalists are getting flack every time for speaking the truth. Eric,
Wow.
sometimes I fear for you.
We have survived.
Eric, I fear for you. It's like, man, how do you survive telling the truth? Maybe you should start lying. No, okay, let us lie. Let us just sit here and tell Kenyans that, AFCON is going to be, we're going to host AFCON in 2027, and we're going to host African Nation Championship. Motsepe is coming here for the second time next week.
Yeah.
Eric, when he was here 2 months ago, CAF was not very pleased by what they saw in Kasarani. And at Talanta and at Nyayo, we went around that entourage. And for me, it was what was left unsaid. It's not what he said.
For sure.
It was
What
what
he
was
didn't
left
say.
unsaid.
Yes.
That Kenya, you need to know, what is your current ranking in African football?
Yes.
Do you have any clout?
No.
What would endear you to CAF
Yeah.
to have these hosting rights here, while Rwanda is looking at African Nation Championship and the Africa Cup of Nations? Remember, AFCON and CHAN is an East African thing, not a Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania thing.
East Africa.
So that is the philosophy. That
Sakafa
means,
region.
yes, it could remain, it will go to Rwanda.
So, speaking of Rwanda, ideally should be hosting CHAN at Kasarani. When I look at the photos that I see right now and videos, like the last time when you guys were there with Motsepe and the other guys from CAF and from the ministry, I don't see that stadium being ready in a few weeks, because ideally we need to have that stadium ready and play a few games, test matches. Ivory Coast did that. Qatar did that. Okay, let's not go to Qatar. People will feel like we're going too far and too big for the World Cup. Ivory Coast did that. We need this stadium ready enough. Let's say by the end of Christmas.
The African Nation Championship blueprint should have expressly say that, for example. And the questions, someone asked me, Eric, and I shared this with you offline. Somebody asked me, I say now, which stadium are we very sure is going to host CHAN, even if we say in February?
Yes.
I don't see any stadium that we're very sure.
Kasarani, for instance, whose grass was said to be substandard the other day.
Yeah.
Nyayo can't host Mashemeji.
Nyayo,
Can't.
okay. Other than Nyayo and Kasarani, are we going to have Ulinzi Stadium? Is it approved by CAF and FIFA?
No. That's a training ground.
Well, it could be a training ground.
Yeah,
What
that's a
about
training,
the DCI stadium here, police?
Now that's the other thing. Now, apart from the main stadiums,
Yeah.
we need the training pitches.
Yes.
Training grounds.
Yes.
Okay, so where in Nairobi? Okay, let's count the merit for very practical
Annex.
reasons.
Ideally, annex should be one of them.
Annex,
So,
Annex
Kasarani
one of
Annex
them.
number one?
Utali.
Ut-
Utali also
Utali,
started, yeah.
is there a good pitch?
Yeah,
Let's
the
talk
pitch
about
is
public,
good.
not private though. Let's go public, okay? So, Utali,
Nyayo should be a training
Police.
base.
yeah, police stadium here, South Sea,
South Sea.
and
Ulinzi.
Ulinzi, for example. Those are
Yeah,
four.
Ulinzi, yeah.
Nyayo should be a training center for CHAN.
For CHAN.
Yes.
Not match venue.
No, I was told, what I know, I was told that Kasarani will be the only stadium for matches.
But they fronted Nyayo and Kasarani as
Kasarani,
well.
yeah.
As Kenya's,
Yeah.
made.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're only going to host one group, yeah?
Yeah,
And
one group,
And
yeah.
Uganda one and,
One and
Tanzania.
But
one, yeah.
Eric, this is not just about hosting one round or two rounds. This is a preparation for AFCON 2027. We should be putting everything on the line. And then dear CAF to say,
we are
look,
ready.
why don't you take one to Naivasha? For example, one round of this match is to Naivasha.
Yes.
If there were good stadium. If Kipchoge came to stadium. So,
Is it still there?
already, okay? You'd say, look,
Yeah.
We saw what Cote d'Ivoire did with AFCON. They spread it across the country.
Yes, I remember.
I was in Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt.
Yes.
Okay.
Even Egypt.
They took it around the
Actually,
country.
Egypt,
And
I went to Ismailia.
Yeah.
I watched a game.
I was in
Suez.
Suez.
I went to Ismailia, I watched Ghana there.
Okay.
And it's beautiful because you're showcasing the country. Here, we are sitting here and saying, is this a camera that I need to address CAF on?
Yes, please.
This one?
Yes.
Monsieur le Président de la Confédération Africaine de Football. My French is bad.
He's from South Africa. He speaks English. Motsepe, yes.
Motsepe. And members of the CAF Executive Committee.
They're coming to Tanzania by the in December for the CAF Exco also.
Yes. As you come to East Africa, cut through the noise, cut through the chase, go directly to the ground. You will see what journalists have been saying and have been publishing. Let us not vilify journalism and media as it were. As an institution, we are doing our job. We are doing everything possible. We are saying the truth. And we are telling you at this point that the Kenyan government is not ready to host CHAN. That the Kenyan government is not ready with the African Nation Championship that is supposed to be held in just 2 months' time. There is no local organizing committee as of this time. There are no funds allocated to it. There are no serious thoughts given to African Nation Championship. So, as it were, I would urge you to save this country from embarrassment. We are already suffering here. Take this tournament to Rwanda. Give people who are ready to host football. Kenya needs to have a lesson so that it is no longer business as usual. We keep saying this thing every time, every day. We publish newspaper articles that are rubbish. You do radio stories that are being thrown out. You do television stories that people call them fake news. Well, here's real news. Kenya is not ready to host AFCON 2027. I tell you now, 2 years to go. And importantly, immediately, take the African Nation Championship to Rwanda.
Wow.
I will say this because there's already a precedence. It's not going to be the first time.
Yeah.
There's going to be a precedence. Morocco lost AFCON 2015 because of Ebola. It took it to Equatorial Guinea. All right.
Yeah.
And we've seen countries losing hosting rights. So Kenya is not special. And I'll remind people in this country that Kenya has no clout in football.
We've actually lost twice.
Yes.
AFCON
1996. We have no clout in football, and we are such a weak nation. So we have not. When everyone puts stuff on the table in football, what do we put?
Nothing.
On the table.
So, Onera, but speaking of Rwanda,
Yes.
you know, we did not qualify for CHAN.
Yes.
So, which means if we're taken out, we will also miss from playing.
Yeah, which would be very sad because that would have been it would have been a good tournament for local players.
For sure.
For sure.
For Firat.
For Firat, you know, to look at the ones he can put now in the main team for 2027. Yeah, that would be very, very unfortunate. But let's hope Kenya will pull some miracle.
No, hope will not. Please. Keep
Let's
hope
hope.
out of this. Keep hope out of this. Keep thoughts and prayers out of this. We are out of that zone where we prayers and thoughts. No.
No, it can't work.
Go out, plant your grass, prepare your stadium,
We
play
try
a match ball.
2034.
Yeah,
Maybe.
possibly.
Please do tell us what you think about the preparations by Kenya for CHAN. Because
But Eric, you don't look so happy. Are you going to be in the LOC, Eric? Why is your face collapsed all of a sudden?
No, listen.
Is this light enough so that they make you happy?
Listen, I'm not going to be in the LOC, and by now,
Did you see his face? He collapsed.
by now we should be having marketing, selling all these rights, selling. You remember Ivory Coast, the way they were selling things by now that sponsors so many things.
Thank you very much. Where are your sponsors? Eric, how do you approach sponsors with 2 months to go to sell African Nation Championship?
And then you see, ideally, we're going to the Christmas period where people don't really do these things.
Absolutely.
So we're going to work on these things from 1st of January.
Let us be very clear that CHAN is not in 2026. It is in 2025. We are sitting here at the tail end of November. Okay? Speaking about an event that should happen in 6 weeks, 7 weeks' time. As of this time, no marketing approach, no marketing committees, nothing to whip the public about CHAN and telling the public, support your team, support this, even though we've been knocked out. And Harambee Stars getting knocked out of AFCON has not even made things easier for us.
Okay. Now let's go back to the FKF elections right now. Gilbert, we've got the elections in a couple of days now, that is on December 7th.
Okay.
So what do you think of the whole process right now?
Well, so far, the fear was, there was a court case that nearly stopped the county elections. And that would have been very bad for Kenya because FIFA have made it very clear. We have to have elections by the end of December, 31st.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're getting a ban.
I
So
welcome
probably that will also help us
welcome
not
it.
to host the chat.
I welcome it.
So far, I'm glad the process is ongoing well. And then now we'll have the elections on the 7th of December. There's still a few cases here and there, but I don't think it's big enough to cause us to postpone the elections. So I think the process is going on well. The electoral board, they've been able to handle most of the complaints. I've not had any material complaint, anything. So I think the campaigns are ongoing and everything. But I think I'm just a bit surprised at the amount of money that candidates are spending on these elections. It's a lot of money. So I hope that the same energy, the same focus can be used, to now build football after the elections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sadiq, you've covered many elections, football elections in Kenya, and also general elections in Kenya. What do you think of it so far, Kenya, and the FKF elections? The campaigns now, the electoral body?
I was in Cameroon in 2016 and 2018 when FKF was embroiled in very serious...
They've had issues, those guys.
And they're still having issues at this time with Samuel Eto'o.
And the
Very
coach.
serious management issues. And Cameroon is not just any other country. Cameroon is a heavyweight of African football.
Even Africa, in the world,
In
they
the
are known
world,
worldwide.
they have been to the World Cup, one of the most successive African, tournaments, not just at the senior level, but also at the ranks below it. So when, for example, FKF sneezes, people say everybody catches cold across the region.
They're called La Continent.
Le Continent, oui. And that is why you'd see that everybody, including FIFA, put interest in what was going on in Cameroon. In Kenya, we are having elections that are coming up that are, how do I say this, Eric? This is a family-rated show and your show is going to be online. How do let's just say, for lack of a better word, we are trying to turn letter O upside down. You have a person who has done 8 years in office trying to come back through the back door by fronting the former vice president. I mean, Nick Mwendwa, please get out of town. Is this a camera that addressed Nick Mwendwa? Nick, you've done time. Please move. Please move. He's angry with me. Does he support that?
He's going to respond.
Well, I saw his arm stretching out. I don't know what they wanted to do.
He was with you for chance, but for this one, different.
Listen. I do not really see any difference in what is being suggested here. My personal take is that those who have done time must go. That house has to go. You cannot come and Nick cannot, look, Nick has done his time. And there was a year that we were banned. There's something in French, I think it's called force majeure, that things could happen while you're in it. The spirit of the game is such that you accept the results as they were and move out. But Nick cannot come and hide under the skirt of Doris now and present himself as a new person. He doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. Nick has to go and Doris has to go. It is the same house. I also contend that Barry was part and parcel of the former office that have done what they have done and didn't do what they didn't do, for lack of a better word, and that they should go. I am a firm believer in new beginning, new starts, that Barry Otieno, Dorcas, and Nick, and every remnant of that office should go. I am hoping somebody will go to court and stop these elections.
The election is coming up in...
Before we get, now it's
days.
grassroots elections. Now we're coming to the national delegates where they will have to elect the executive office.
in 11 days.
It is possible. It is possible. I hope somebody goes to court and seek an interpretation whether those guys really need to stand for office. Because concerns are that this is a continuation of the old order. We are trying to beat the process that Nick is going to be in office for 16 years. If he did 8, if Doris does 8, alongside him is going to be in office for 16 years. Is he Issa Hayatou of African football? No, he is not. He ended that point with the Issa Hayatou. Let new people come to the office, give us fresh ideas, and that is how we're going to fix football, we're going to fix Harambee Stars, and all the problems there. Number 2, I'm pleading with the delegates. both from the counties who have been elected, including 4 that will now do their elections in the coming days. The delegates from the Football League, the delegates from the National-wide League, those ones that are coming in from, the referees body and every other delegate out of the 96. Yes, out of the 94. 94. Yeah, 94. You have to make the right decision. Look at Gen Zs and what they did recently in Kenya. Don't let them down. The Gen Zs of football are your votes. You need to revolutionize the thinking and the philosophy in football. Do not sell your vote for people that may be supported by Wandera, for example. I'm just using him as a bad example. He's a good man.
Sadiq, let's have Gilbert respond to what you said.
Like I was, football is very funny, Eric. Football is a cartel. It's like a closed club. You see, even Infantino, most likely he'll be in FIFA until 2031.
2031. We're now in 2024.
We are in 2024.
7 more years.
Exactly. So it's more likely to be there until 2031. And my point is, it is very difficult, almost impossible, to bring somebody from outside and come, into the football, like a new person to come.
But even Nick came in 2016.
Yeah. But Nick was in the system.
Oh, he was from
he was in the system.
What about the former president of CAF, Ahmad Ahmad? He was only the FA president of Madagascar.
But he was in the system. That is also being in the system.
So the people currently in the football election scenario of Kenya have not been in the system?
So
no,
we have,
who now?
We have Toto Shivanyula, we have Barry. Barry has been the CEO and the GS.
Yes.
We have Doris. Doris has been the vice president for 8 years.
8 years.
We've got Hussein.
Yes.
Hussein has been the CEO of Extreme Sport.
But Extreme Sport is like a
an
tournament.
insider.
It's a tournament.
He's
not an insider.
Listen.
No.
But it's not part of Murangasil.
Yes.
Since when?
Since a couple of months ago.
A couple of months ago.
Gilbert,
but my point
when
is,
you and I were young journalists,
yes,
we used to go and cover that Super 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes,
I'm not defending. I'm not even defending Hussein or anything of that. I have no candidate in the elections.
Yes.
But I'm saying,
yes,
if you say you're not an insider, but this man claims to have done a lot of football,
yes,
so you cannot, in all fairness,
are you calling it a chess tournament?
Is it a chess tournament? Or a kabaddi tournament?
I'll give you another example.
I'm a CDF tournament.
Before I forget, I'll give you another example, Sadiq.
So Hussein, just to be clear,
yes,
Hussein is not an outsider.
No, he's not an insider.
He's an external
He's
insider.
not an insider either.
He's not an insider either.
Now we are.
So he's in between.
Yeah, he's in between. I'll give you an example.
It's a definition of terms.
Have you ever followed the elections of Mali? The Mali guy was elected while in prison. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know.
While in prison.
But
he
even
won,
Tunisia guy was
he won 65-1 while in prison.
But the same Mali FA, I covered their crisis.
Yes,
Okay? They
yes.
have been banned by FIFA.
Yes.
And they've had long-running football management issues.
Yes.
And FIFA and CAF have had to cut deals.
Yes.
Heck, even the Prime Minister of Senegal was elected while in prison. So Gilbert, swallow it.
My point is that as much as we want new and fresh people to come in, I want that also, new ideas. It is impossible. What I'm saying is...
No, Gilbert.
What I'm saying is,
Gilbert,
if somebody has an interest in football, they should be there for the long haul.
Gilbert, I disagree with you. Absolutely.
So, instead of coming late, you're saying that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They've come for elections.
So he wants a continuation of the old order.
They've come for elections. That's my point.
He wants a continuation. Let us be very clear.
Yes.
He wants a continuation of the old order.
Kempes has been in the US for 40 years.
40 years.
What does he know about local
So
football?
the only people who have been in football is Ochola, Amim has been in Ligi.
Yeah.
Ochola,
yes.
Doris.
But now,
So you are looking out the window for
I'm not
any
looking
other
out.
person
Nobody has been locked out.
to come.
So according to you,
Yes.
Gilbert, how many years should someone serve in football before getting elected for big office?
Well, it depends at what level.
Like president?
How many years? Just count.
Your opinion?
What I'm saying is, somebody who's been in football in a serious way, like maybe the chairman of Gor Mahia FC, 4 or 5 years, you feel, like chairman of Kakamega Homeboys, that is a guy in the system. He knows the pain of running a club.
Are you saying that the chairman of Muranga Seal, for example, should be disqualified from running?
No, I didn't say
because
that.
he just came into the league the other day.
No, and I didn't say that. He's not
This
just
is
the
the
other
same-
day.
this is
He's
the
been
same-
there for a while because
Now-
Muranga Seal has climbed the ladder
Ranks.
until they are where they are.
Somebody
Now,
could
chairman of Muranga Seal It's fine.
Somebody could come and buy
Yes.
the team and be the chairperson
Yes.
of the team. Listen, Wandera, what I'm trying to imagine here
Yes.
is that in 2017, I think where you and I were in Addis Ababa,
Yes.
Ethiopia, at the
Yes.
African Union headquarters,
Yes.
when people say Issa Hayatou is a Mugumo tree of
Yes.
African football,
Yes.
since 1992, nobody has come close to Issa Hayatou.
Correct.
And here,
Yes.
Issa Hayatou was coming in as acting FIFA president.
Yes.
Just months ago, he'd been in acting capacity. But we saw how a vote ballot revolution happened at the floor of Africa Union.
Yes.
And we saw Ahmad, getting elected. Ahmad may have had his issues,
But-
but that was a monumental change in African football.
Correct.
And we've never gone back ever since.
Yes.
I'm also saying that Kenya is ripe for revolution. For many years, we used to say problem was Sam Nyamwe. Now Nyamwe is out. Who are we blaming now? Or is this an institutional tag of shame that everybody wears when they get into the office? And why should it be so difficult for us to clamor for change and tell you, just like Athletics Kenya, they are being told to get out of office because they have served 8 years. So Wandera,
Actually, more.
let us not...
Actually, more.
Let us not be scared.
Not even 8 years.
Wandera, that one to call us. When you call me for I need to do Athletics. Mr. Wandera, Mr. Wandera, look at Eric and I. We just had fresh shave this morning. Eric, look at his forehead shining out there.
Yes.
I've just had a fresh cut. You haven't had.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one after this.
Yes, so the difference here is very clear.
Yes.
You want continuation of the old order.
That's not even my point.
Some people
Gilbert,
like me.
That's not even my point.
Gilbert,
Some people like me want a fresh cut.
Gilbert,
Like, fresh
That's
cut.
not my
There's
point.
people-
Sorry.
Okay.
That's
See-
not even my point. My point is, Sadiq, I am saying for you to get the support of... I like the example you've given. But then I was shocked myself. That Hayatou has been removed. I was shocked. But you know why? Ahmed got the support of the delegates. You see, he got the support of the people who actually vote.
So someone
So what
like
I'm
Hussein
saying-
can get the votes, can get the support.
If he, I hope he gets.
Come on, Lila.
I hope he gets. But what I'm saying is, if you don't get the support, my point
So-
was, if you don't get the support of
You
the
don't
people
win.
vote, you don't win.
And Eric,
Exactly.
in fact, in putting that to bed,
Yes.
if the election so far
Yes.
at the counties is anything to
Yes.
go by,
Yes.
which we respect,
Yes.
the choices at the ballot
Yes.
of those who voted,
Yes.
then we can sit here and say that we are going to suffer for the next 4 years.
Yes.
I will tell you the choice is stupid. The choice at the ballot is stupid. As much as I respect
Yes.
the choice that has been made, for those that are clamoring for change, those that want to see new people, new fresh, new blood, they will have to wait longer because it appears as if the old order have their
But
way.
Sadiq, even
into
these clubs,
elections.
Sadiq, even these clubs.
I like how you get it,
Like
yes.
over the weekend, we saw clubs. Over the weekend, we saw some delegates in
Yes.
Naivasha.
Yeah.
Like Wandera said, there's some delegates who have been getting money, receiving money.
Yes.
It seems even some of these clubs or these delegates, they also still want to continue with these candidates.
Well, I think so. And it's their choice, I'm afraid. And that is what I'm saying. Somebody said choices have consequences.
Yeah, sure.
We are sitting
As
here.
Kenyans, we know that very well.
We do
Yeah.
know that very well. We are sitting
Yes.
here, for example.
Yes.
Harambee Stars has not qualified for AFCON.
Yes.
We've qualified by default
For
to
Chan.
Chan 2025 and
Which you're not
AFCON.
sure.
Presumably, if it is not taken, it is not taken away.
Yeah.
It is not taken away
Yes.
by CAF.
Yes.
But we are going to the ballot to make a stupid choice. That those who want to make clean slate, clean change, will have to wait longer. And I am saying, delegates, you will decide whether this country goes back 4 more years or goes ahead 4 more years. Or
Okay.
whether we're going to get stuck here in the mud for the next possibly 8 years.
Now, let me ask you guys, we conclude with this one question. You don't have to answer it, but who do you like to win this election?
Just say it. Just say it. You don't swallow it, Jatele. Just say it.
No, I'd rather not answer.
The PRO already. You have already been
Let me not answer. Let me not answer that.
Gilbert, how many years have I known you?
I don't put you guys. I don't put you guys in that situation.
Gilbert, how many years have I known you? Almost 20 now, right?
Yeah.
And this is probably the first time he's not answered a question. Gilbert has asked some of the toughest questions in football.
Yeah.
But he's not answered a single question from Eric.
Anyway, it's fine. Thanks all guys for coming through. I do think 1 hour is not enough to talk to you guys.
It's not.
I hope to have you guys again back soon, probably before the election and after the election and during the CHAN inspection by CAF.
We are not getting CHAN and we are not getting AFCON. Take it to the bank.
We'll be here.
The Reds are good now.
Thanks a lot for watching Troopers this week. My name is Eric Njira. I had with me sports journalist, this is Gilbert Wandera, and
you.
also senior sports journalist, this is Sadiq Shaban. We're back soon. Thank you.